If you thought Dungeons and Dragons couldn't get worse, Wizards of the Coast be like, hold my Bud Light. I give you consent to do so. You can fill out this consent form with your DM. Oh, no. It's that bad, guys. This is devolving into the most unfun, stupid, safe space crap just to promote degeneracy across the board I've ever seen. It is not D&D anymore. You're not rolling dice to fight monsters anymore. It's sick. And this is where we're at. This is what we're going to talk about today. My gosh, this is going to be a headache. I wrote the article this morning on Fandom Pulse, and just seeing it gets my blood boiling as a long time tabletop RPG player. I hate this more than anything. I really do. So hit the like and subscribe button, my friends. We're in for a wild ride. I appreciate all the gamers out there. You guys have been amazing. I am a creator myself. I write books and comics, and eventually maybe once our properties get big enough, we might do something in the tabletop space with this kind of thing. I definitely want to. I'm talking with some people. But this is my series, my fantasy series, The Adventures of Baron von Monocle. I've got a 6-book series right now. I'll aim to make this 7 by the end of the year. But it details a fantasy world, which is a lot of fun, that I developed like myself. I did all the world building myself. It really stems from like a love of like Final Fantasy 4 and 6 to be precise. And it really builds up with like some cool magic system stuff that's going on, crazy wars, some evil enemies who are just evil, like how orcs used to be evil. Well, my nightmen are just pure evil. They're not mincing words. They're not Mexicans. LARPing and just wanting to immigrate with their families into the Shire. No, we did a great fantasy story here, so I'd love for you to check this out. Grab all 6 books. It's on ebook, print, and audio. The last book will be coming out on audio in probably January, and I'll put this in the description below for you. Thank you guys so much for supporting our art and supporting everything we do as we push back against what's going on here. So the picture is worth 1,000 words, and this X thing used to mean straight edge back in the punk emo scene in the 90s, but now it means safe space. So here's where this goes, and it's really creepy, and it's weirder than you even think. Let's get into the news, my friends. So, as you know, D&D has been in a bad path for a long time. Here's the famous Mexican orcs from earlier this year. One of their executives, who's now fired, has went out and said he doesn't want white male gamers to be in the space anymore. He wants to transform it, and that's exactly what they've been attempting to do with their like weird wheelchair dungeons and weird like gay romance supplements that they keep putting out. But now the Dungeon Master's Guide for the new edition is absolutely even crazier. Grums posted about this after he got information from an insider, and he said it falls off a woke cliff in a brand new DM guide. There is an entire section where DMs are encouraged to have players fill out sensitivity forms about what might trigger them. You can't make this stuff up, guys. I mean, what the hell? Are people really like this? Are there really people out there who are like this? I just can't even believe it. And an emergency X gesture, yes, where the player can stop a game if they feel uncomfortable in a fictional fantasy setting. Funnier still, they're being accused of stealing these ideas from other games without credit. How fun. This is going to go extremely well for them. Oh my gosh. So the new DM guide features 2 core tools for, quote, player safety. This is like the trust and safety groups at different companies that ban us all from platforms just for saying things they don't like, right? And this is now implementing and infiltrating the books. This is nuts, which are nothing more than safety blankets for coddling the perpetually offended and afraid. And everyone at the table has to agree to this pandering, where one player can dictate what you can and can't have in your campaign. This first tool is the game expectations form, where the players list their hard and soft limits. A hard limit is what a campaign can never have, and a soft limit is what you may only lightly touch on in an area. How fun! This sounds like a joy. I really want to go to grab a pizza on a Saturday night and sit down and talk about what triggers me, and spend 4 hours doing that. My God, what are some of these limits? Here are the examples used in the past in the tabletop community: romance, mind control, Cultural issues, yes, any snowflake topic, don't make fun of orc culture. Harm to animals, natural disasters, paralysis, thirst, claustrophobia. Oh gosh, I'm so triggered, my friends. Here's a previewed pic of the part of the forum. The second tool they want you to use, and here it is, game theme and flavor. Oh, look at that happy little eyeball monster. The second tool is an emergency snowflake break, where players can stop the entire game if they feel the slightest bit uncomfortable. To do this, the DM guide says you must make the X symbol with your arms. Oh, this guy's stunning and brave right here. That's right. Once a woke bat signal is given, the entire game must stop immediately and address the concerns of this one player by skipping and altering the campaign on the fly to force everyone else to go along with it. This is exactly their culture. This is what the woke do. They want you to stop everything you're doing 100% of the time to go along with their weird agenda, always. It's really, really sick. It's really, really sad. You'd think the wokies would be happy with this, but they're angry. You see, Wizards of the Coast is accused of stealing these ideas from other tabletop creators. How fun. This is going to get fun. You see, these tools have been around since the late 90s and come from the world of BDSM sex. Yes, I'm sorry, guys, to get into this. This is where it gets crazy. I'm not, but this is what the agenda is. This is who's taken over tabletop gaming. And if you look at all the stuff you see coming out of Gen Cons, coming out of Wizards of the Coast, Pathfinder, these people are all just freaky weirdos who have just taken anybody who's even slightly normal, just gotten them out of the hobby, tried to just to make their weird little orgy parties at these conventions. That's really what's going on. It's really sick. And this is why they're pushing this into this kind of thing. Look up hard limits and see Wizards of the Coast is stealing the consent from a tabletop RPG titled Sex and Sorcery. They called these limits lines and veils, which is credited as the source of these type of consent forms in tabletop. Instead of welcoming these tools that promote their coddling of mental illnesses, Wokies are on the attack. The article in Wargaming slams D&D for using these ideas without credit, and the author's picture is exactly what you would expect. Other prominent sources make it even worse. Monty Cook Games famously published the following consent form and was mocked for it. You can't have bugs, or rats. And what is this section on relationships even for? You can list your enthusiastic consent for explicit sex of genocide. Okay. It's just crazy. It absolutely is. And to think that the whole campaign has to cater towards the lowest common denominator of phobias is ridiculous. They literally talk about how you can have goldfish, describing goldfish as goggly eyes, might be triggering, and you should avoid it if a player lists it as a problem. Goldfish. Let that sink in. That's the example they have in their game. Ridiculous. Tabletop has long been infested by players who are oversensitive, prefer weaving stories while avoiding combat. Look at the art in the new player's handbook, filled with baristas and baking bread, which have nothing which might offend such, slaying dragons. Long time, well, I mean, what did the dragons ever do long? They need to be included. Long-time RPG fans have fled the scene. They no longer played or have moved on to other games. They leave behind an audience that love popularity of tabletop RPGs and the rise of coolness of geek cred. Most of the people following D&D by watching shows by Critical Role who are super woke, by the way, don't actually play and outnumber the actual players, just like the amount of Overwatch fans that are fans of the characters and don't play it themselves. They invaded my hobbies. This is the end result. Now, there are better games out there. There's a system called Axe, ACKS, which is a fantastic game, guys, by the way, and it's made by base developers who actually just care about fantasy settings. So go look that up. It's very important, of course, to support alternatives to this kind of thing. You can play your games without this stuff. I know it's difficult because everybody's like, oh, D&D, I know that game, versus something like Axe, a lot of people don't quite know. But it amounts to the same thing, and these things are easy to pick up. You can just get rid of this stuff, not support companies like Wizards of the Coast, and that's exactly what we have to do. Nobody should be buying this. Nobody should be signing up for their one D&D subscription. We just got to send the message that, you know what? You ruined our game. It's done. We have nothing to do with you. We don't need the brand. And that's what gamers can do to resist this kind of thing. This is crazy and stupid and sick, and it's for mentally ill people. I mean, that's what they're trying to do, is cater that audience, as we've seen with everything in the past as we talk about board games and tabletop RPGs here on the channel. And yikes, this is the worst I've seen yet. Make an X, guys, in the comments if you're triggered by this. Hit the like and subscribe button. Thank you guys for being here. Really appreciate you. Make sure to check out my fantasy books. Really appreciate you for checking all this out and giving us some of the best months of our career here. We are just riding up a storm. I'm actually on vacation in El Salvador, but I'm still working hard, guys, because I just get inspired. When I'm on vacation, I want to write more. It's kind of weird. But grab this. Thank you so much. It's in the description below. We'll be back soon.